We often think that we find Kedusha, sanctity, holiness, in the most holy places, in the shuls, in the temples, in the places where all the great Torah scholars are. But sometimes history shows us that holiness, or the sparks of holiness, are to be found in the strangest places. In our parasha, the Torah tells us about Yehuda. Yehuda separated from his brothers. He got married, and he had 3 children. The eldest child got married. His eldest son got married to Tamar, but then his eldest son passed away. So the second son, the middle son, married his brother's widow. That was the Levirate marriage, but unfortunately he too passed away. Now Yehuda was suspicious. Maybe there's something wrong with his daughter-in-law Tamar, and he put her off and he said, you know what, my younger son is too young to get married at the moment. He's not going to marry you. And he just left it. And she wanted so much to be part of his family. She saw within Yehuda a regal bearing. He was from Yaakov's family. She wanted to be the mother of his children. And so she disguised herself as a prostitute. And he was walking along the way. He himself had lost his wife. And in a moment of strange error, almost, he went and he lay with her, and she became pregnant, and she had twins. And these twins were Peretz and Zerach. So in other words, this was a relationship between a father-in-law and a daughter-in-law, which later on the Torah says is forbidden. But it's from that child Peretz, that King David came. So hidden there in the strange, almost incestuous and forbidden act is a spark of holiness of King David, and ultimately from King David will come the Messiah. That's from the father's side. What about from the mother's side? And the mother's side is also a strange story, and that's what we learned earlier on in Parshat Vayera, that Lot fled the city of storm with his wife and his 2 daughters. His wife was turned into a pillar of salt, so he and his daughters went and lived in a cave in the mountains, and they thought that there was no one left on the entire earth. So they got their father drunk, and they had a relationship with him. And from the eldest daughter was born a child, Moab. Moab was a mamzer. He was a bastard child. He was the result of a father and a daughter. That's where the nation of Moab came from. But who came from Moab? Ruth the Moabite. And she ultimately married into the family of Yehuda, that same family of Yehuda and Tamar. And as a result of that, King David was born. So there were these sparks of spirituality hiding out in these strange places. And ultimately they come together to create the royal line of the Jewish people. And I'll say, just tell us that is one of the reasons why the Jewish people were thrown into exile. Yes, of course, it was a punishment for their misbehavior in the land. But they were thrown into exile because one never knows where those sparks of holiness are. And that by being in the exile, in the diaspora, we're able to meet people and bring them close to Judaism so that ultimately we can redeem that holiness which is hidden in those dark places. I wish you a Shabbat Shalom.